fitting I'm in this town, Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Talk about serendipity. Sallisaw was the hometown of the fictional family, the Joads, in The Grapes of Wrath, where they were sharecroppers, and I had forgotten that. Didn't recognize it when I rolled into town, and I started this trip with my New Mexico or bus sign as an homage to the Grapes of Wrath and my own story. But how serendipitous that I get into this town to check email and find out that I have donations from a handful of people all over the world that saw a post someone did on Reddit. I posted one of my videos to it, and just overwhelming. I am now in a position to travel on without having to worry how I'm going to pay for a new tire, which I'm going to have to do soon, but 700 miles to go, 1,400 miles down, so it's within reach, and absolutely amazing. I made the mistake, out of curiosity, of going to Googling Reddit and signsoflifeonearth.com, my website name, and more humorous than disturbing, but because of some of the just vile posts that people did on there. One saying something about, great, so because some middle-aged idiot has made bad decisions in his life, he decides to go on a bike ride. Well, it's because of the decisions I made in life that I'm in the spot I'm in now, yes, but they were the right decisions. I had a good life living in Australia in 2000, and came home because my dad wasn't in very good health, and he passed 2 months after I moved back. During those 2 months, he went between nursing home and hospital, and one day he seemed a little agitated or upset, and I got the thought that I had to ask him, and it's one of those thoughts that where you're in the present and you have the vision to see that if you don't do that one thing, you'll regret it the rest of your life. My dad, who deeply religious man, whose faith was very strong, I still had to ask, and I had to sit there and envision myself asking him for quite some time, because I knew I didn't want to choke up when I asked him. And so as I sat there, I looked at him with a smile, and I said, "You're not afraid of dying, are you?" And my dad locked eyes with me, looked at me, and said, "Why, no?" And I shook my head and smiled. That's all that was said about it. And my brother, who was in to see him a few days later, told me, "Man, I don't know what you said to Dad," but he was sitting up in bed, all smiles, and said, Paul knows how to minister to people in the hospital better than most ministers do. And that's so my dad. And it wasn't until after that that I realized that we had both given each other something. There was a part of it was the first time I ever had to be a parent to my dad. And that's what I realized after the fact. And that as far as what he got out of it, I'm sure there was an element of him that felt like, I've done my job. I can leave this planet now. And love my dad deeply. My dad's heroes, if you will. He'd been writing a book about a Puritan preacher for years and years. I grew up in a very strict family. Wasn't allowed to go to dances or movies when I was growing up. So, yes, I missed the whole Disney thing. But, never had a conversation with my parents about sex. In fairness to them, it's probably the way they were raised, and they just didn't know how to approach it. So, learned how to strike a balance with all that in my life as I grew into adulthood, gotten to the point I'm at today. But again, back to my point of talking about decisions people make. Shortly after my dad passed, I found out the hard way that there are people who just peruse the obituaries to prey on the surviving spouse. And I found that out the hard way because I caught my mother at the tail end of having given away her life savings in a phone scam. And through that, I was worried about depression from my mother. Just, very kind, gentle, effervescent soul. And the psychiatrist I took her to specialized in testing the elderly for memory, brain function, etc. And she deduced my mother had a stroke or a mini stroke. It affected areas of the brain governing short-term memory and ability to make good decisions. And MRI later showed that she had actually had a series of mini strokes affecting that portion of the brain. So that was the beginning of her dementia, and which gets progressively worse through time. Your more recent memories peel away like layers of an onion, and you're left with earlier memories of your life. And it got to the point where I had to become her full-time caregiver, and trying to balance working, and I would hire caregivers to come in when I was at work, etc. But she thought I was her brother. And so when I see posts like, because someone screwed up their life by bad decisions, I feel sorry for those kind of people. Because, what a shallow understanding of life and why we're here, what you do with your life. So, the fact that a handful of people saw my story and get it. Far outweighs any butthead posts. My dad made all that money after he retired. My parents didn't drink or smoke, led good lives. And, the best they could afford in retirement was a brand new mobile home, and had it in a beautiful, beautiful park, large lots, gardens. He would retired in 1977, and my mother lived there all those years since then. And so my dad, through reading and investing, made and saving, made close to $50,000, and you know, maybe not a large sum to some people, but that was the nest egg for whichever spouse outlived the other. And so, yeah, I'm proud of the life I've led. You know, I've made mistakes like anyone, but life is a series of decisions, and for some people, it's not knowing when to stop and look at what you're doing and say, you know, maybe there's been a fallacy in my line of reasoning and decision making, but for me, the path I chose, that I struck to do this, was the right one. I just needed a change of venue. There was nothing left for me where I was, and just decided that I was unemployed there, having been fired from Penn State for all the wrong reasons. Nothing I did wrong. You know, some have told me that I should get an attorney and sue, and I'm not really a suing person. You know, plus, you know, I have yet to meet an attorney that a good attorney that doesn't want money up front, and that's money I don't have. You know, there's part of you that says, you know, they deserve to learn a lesson, be taught a lesson, and there's another part of you that just can't be bothered with spending precious energy and time in life doing something that has an unknown outcome, with the result more expense or more anger. Every decision we make, even our emotions, are a decision. And most people never get that, you know. Somebody flips you off in traffic, you've got a decision point right at that point in time to decide to let it go. And, you know, that's why the world's as messed up as it is. People don't get it. So, again, to the handful of people who saw that post and took action, just feeling that kindred portion of what I'm going through in life against their own lives, I thank you deeply. And what a world we live in. So, thanks for tuning in.